everyone, and welcome to Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal. I am your host, Sean Ellis, and tonight we have an amazing guest. She's been on the All Access Network television for a little while now. She has her own show called Medium Frequencies. So let's bring on the host of Medium Frequencies, Miss Raven Wolfe.
Hello, hello.
How you doing tonight, Raven?
I am doing better and better, so I cannot complain.
Well, I hope that everything starts going well very soon for you.
Thank you.
So, you've been on All Access now for what, a few weeks now? What do you think?
I love it. I think that we have such a great community of people that, connect together and support each other and share the love for paranormal and metaphysical and all different kinds of aspects in general of life, and I'm just so honored to be a part of a network like this.
Yeah, I've actually got a chance to watch a few of your shows. I thought they were very interesting, and I'm glad to have you aboard with us.
Thank you so much for having me as a guest.
Yeah. So, not a lot of my fans know who you are unless they've been watching All Access here lately because you're on here with us now. Can you tell us who you are, please?
Yes, my name is Raven Wolf. I am located out of Salem, Massachusetts. I am a medium that works with different paranormal teams throughout the United States. I also work at a place called Pentagram in Salem, Massachusetts. I do mediumship and past life regression work and tarot, and I love what I do. I have my show, The Medium Frequency, which is on Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm just super passionate about helping families and people that there's my co host, that's Christopher Brown. So yeah, like it's something I really love doing. I work with all kinds of different people, people in the military, veterans. Actually, that's where I started working a lot of the work that I did when I was in California was out there with people who had been in the military. So that was really cool. And then I work with people just everywhere. So that's my jam. I love what I do.
It seems like you got a wide variety of gifts that you're using for good.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
really want to help people with, their healing process and uh, just be present for those that need it and those on the other side who need to get messages across to the living.
so. Let's start with the beginning a little bit. So I know who you are as well because, like I said, I've watched a few of your shows and I thought they were very interesting. When did you realize you had a gift? What age and when did it start?
When I was about 12 years old, I think it was like 12 or 13, it might have been 11. There was a situation where there was a girl that was in my class. She wasn't very nice, okay, in general, she was kind of a bully, but she was in my choir.
Mm-hmm.
And she showed me an act of kindness right before she passed away. Like it was a weekend. And the weekend passed, and I came back, and another bully was unfortunately making jokes about it. And it really upset me that that was what was occurring with this girl. Um, I started seeing her that night, and I was raised in a family where that kind of thing wasn't generally accepted, but I
Right.
saw her literally everywhere. And as a kid, you don't really know what to do with those gifts, especially if you haven't been taught what to do with those things or how to be of support. But she's become a great spirit guardian for me. Unfortunately, the case for her situation has not been solved, but she's also told me in this situation that she doesn't want me to work on it. It's going to be somebody else. And I think it's because it hits too close to home on the personal emotional stuff.
I can understand that. We've had a case that we've dug into, and one of the people we were inquiring about, I got a premonition that they wouldn't live long, and about a week later they died.
Hmm.
So yeah, some does hit pretty close to home, so I can definitely understand that. Um, was your gift passed on from one of your family members? Because sometimes it's generational.
We think so. I mean, again, my family's like super religious, but we do think that it comes from my mom's side of the family further back.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
So
they're more on the side of the European German side.
okay,
Hmm.
that's kind of cool because I've got German and Irish in me, and I've linked some of my gifts back to the Irish in Ireland with the Druids. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, I've you've talked about past life. You just talked mentioned. I should say you just mentioned about past life aggression. Have you
Yes.
done yours? Have you dug into your Akashic records?
Actually, yeah. I was first introduced to Akashic Records when I lived in Oceanside, California. And they did a whole thing on showing us how to go back into our past lives. And I had some times where I lived during famines. I had times where I was married to um, people that I know in my life now that are just good friends. It was interesting. Like that was the very start of it. And what I found is with past life regression, it's cool to be able to go back and see those things, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what if we were to be able to go back into those past lives and really look at the dynamics of, let's say there are certain things that are affecting us today and we have no clue why. Um, for example, a fear of spiders, an irrational fear of spiders, which a lot of people have, but that's the example I'm going to give. So you go back and you go back into a past life in a safe situation, we make sure that it's a safe situation. We travel back to to a past life, and let's say that those spiders come up and it was because somebody passed away from getting a spider bite. Well, what we can do at that point with the techniques that I've taught and figured out that I could do and works really well is we talk to those past life selves of ourselves as well as like the different dynamics of people who decide that they want to show up
Mm-hmm.
to help create healing. So we get messages from those individuals. And then we look at, okay, where is the cord that's connecting us from that life into the current life? And what do we need to do to go ahead and release it? So maybe there might still be a fear of spiders, but at least it's at a less of a value. Now, if it has to do with like a mental health situation, of course we're going to get the right people involved to go ahead and show
Mm-hmm.
support for that individual. But if it's something that's connected to that past life, we release that and then we add some energetic healing. We call their guardians in, their guides, their angels, their teachers, their ascended masters, and we do what we can to help with the healing process with that. And then we come back into the current. And sometimes with past lives, um, we might have to do it a couple times, but like usually, and it could be multiple different past lives that come up, but we do it within an hour to a 2 hour,
Mm-hmm.
session. And then I do talk to my clients about making sure that they have food and making sure that they have water, and that they have things that bring them comfort. Hi, Christy.
Hello,
So,
Christy.
um, so those are really important aspects to me. I think that past lives can be used for multiple things, but that's the aspect of how I'm using it with my clients and with the people that matter to me. Because with my past lives, I realized, okay, like for example, I'll give you an example. There was a lifetime that I had where I was a young girl and we were in the middle of a famine. And unfortunately, I passed away of those circumstances. And I was like, well, okay, now I've seen this past life and it's made me emotional. Well, what can I do to heal that? What can I, like, how does that like connect to this life? And I was like, well, because, I gained a lot of weight, and part of it had to do with trauma, when I was younger, but also part of it had to do with the fact that this lifetime specifically created a need in me to where like I had to eat more than I really needed to.
Mhm.
So I went ahead and released that, and it's been working really well for me. So that's how past life, that is true. Yes, I have had a look at my past lives.
That's awesome. I've actually had the opportunity to go into my past lives as well. Um,
Oh, cool.
and I've found things very interesting. And I know we were talking here a little bit before the show of martial arts stuff that me and you had in common.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One of the things in my past lives is martial arts. That's why I was always drawn to it. And I realized that after I've been in the Akashic Records, but before that, I always wondered why I was fascinated with the martial arts, and that's why, because it was one of my past lives. Um, One of my former team members and I, in a past life, got into it, and I ended up putting him down in a martial arts deal, and we both seen each other in our dreams. So that was kind of interesting that we seen that. Um, yeah, it can get pretty interesting on past life regressions for sure. I was murdered.
Definitely.
I was murdered in one of my past lives, and I have a birthmark. I've heard that before. People
Mm-hmm.
having marks from their past lives.
Oh, me
I
too.
think martial arts, perhaps my past life was related to. Yeah, if you're actually drawn to it, that's what I was always drawn to. It is always liked it for some reason in anything extreme. So, but yeah, I've actually had the opportunity, and I've been to Ireland with the Druids, and me and actually Gwen are linked in that life as well. And
Oh, awesome.
yeah, she and I figured that out about a year ago. Don't know all the details from her side of it, but I mean, I can explain the side that I've seen of hers. But
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to let somebody know too much too soon as well, because they have to open up on their own so they can understand why they're learning that lesson. I guess that's the best way to say that. Anything in this life relates to our past life. Yes, I definitely say so. I never dream. I do dream quite a lot.
I do too. I
And
do too.
here is Gwen. She is the producer of All Access Network Television. She's in the house here. Hello, Gwen.
Hi,
Um,
Gwen.
but yeah, past life regression is definitely interesting. What's one thing that I should say that actually stands out from your past life that relates to now?
In my past life, I had one of the past lives that I have had. I had family members that were also in a. And now I love my family, just to make it clear, but
Right.
I had family members that didn't believe along the same lines that I did. And I had gifts at that specific time where I was helping a community with healing. I was more of an herbalist in that specific life. I'm not an herbalist in this life. Like, I don't really do as much with, I do like magic work with them, but I don't really make tinctures and stuff like I did in that life. Um, and so some of the levels of different types of awakenings that I have had throughout the process of everything definitely led me to like unfold new layers of different things. And I ended up working with like large groups of different people in that life. um and so there are similarities that I'm finding to one where I was in Salem, or at least in the Massachusetts Salem area. before. I don't know that I lived like direct. I wasn't like one of the primary people that passed away because of the witch trials and stuff out here. Um, but there's like too many commonalities. I've had like this lady that came up to me. I was having a grilled cheese sandwich with my friend. There's this like great grilled cheese place out here. And this lady comes up to me and she is not crazy at all. And she looks at me and she says, "I'm glad you're back." And it hit a chord with me, like from a past life situation. Hi. Um, so it hit a chord with the past life situation that ended up like kind of reminding me to go back into that past life. But in that specific life, there was a community that was trying to help me here. And I was fleeing from somebody that I was supposed to get married to that I didn't want to get married to, that my father was trying to force me in that life to marry. And um, he was going to use the context of the fact that that I was a healer, a worker, somebody who was a medium and spirit worker that like ended up being a thing. So there's some strong similarities to that life that are popping up in this life, but there's also some very strong differences.
Hang on. They're saying they can't see me here. Hang on.
Oh, okay, no problem.
See if we can fix this here. Hang on. They're saying they can't see me here. Hang on. See if we can fix this here. Let's see what happens here. I wonder what the deal is going on here. It was working fine when in the back room here. See what happens here. I wonder what the deal is going on here. It's working fine.
Huh.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can see you, but we can't see me, I guess.
that's strange.
See what happens here. That's interesting. Yeah, we can see you, but we can't see me, I guess. See what happens here. That's interesting. Huh. Can you see me now, Gwen?
I can't see you. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Huh. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Can you see me now, Gwen? See what we can do here. Huh. That's interesting. Can you see me now, Gwen? See what we can do here. Hang on a second. I'm going to log out Raven here and come back in
Sure.
real quick. Hang on a second.
Sure, no problem. So we're gonna wait till Sean gets back and see if we can see him. That'll be good. So happy to see you all coming into the show. Thank you for the
There we
comments.
go.
Oh, now I can see you.
Maybe.
Yeah, I
I
can
don't know
see you
why.
clearly.
I'll just leave the background off, but I don't know why. It was working fine before the show. Sorry about that, everyone.
Huh. Well, we can
But
see you clearly now.
yeah, I'm in the island at the kitchen here. But yeah, that's yeah. I always like past life aggression stuff, and my Reiki master is the one that showed me how to do that, and taught me a lot of interesting things with that as well.
Now, what does your Akashic Records library look like? I've
Uh,
noticed that everybody's looks different. So does mine.
One of the things everybody says, they always talk about the hallway with the doors in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mine doesn't have doors. Mine has kind of like a tunnel of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're going down it, I see pictures of things like energy pictures of different things. And then when it comes into full effect is when I see it. So mine's not the doors that open up like everybody talks about. Mine's kind of like, you ever seen the TV series Sliders? And you're going
No.
through that tunnel, that warp tunnel, going to every dimension. That's how mine I see sliding through the time waves when I see mine. And then when I go to certain aspects, because I've even been to a part where I'm actually standing out in the crowd, and they were talking about they're going to crucify Jesus, and everybody just goes quiet. And my Reiki master is up in the balcony at the same location, and a couple of my old team members are in the same place that I am, and you could actually see them in the crowd, and they've actually seen me in their dreams in the same aspect. So that was an interesting one because everybody just went silent when they said they were going to crucify him at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a big thing. Um, I've also been linked going clear back to the Egyptian times as well with Anubis. And so, yeah.
I just had an experience with Anubis. So, as you know, I'm currently in the hospital due to my medical health with the congestive heart failure and stuff. Well, um, I my heart stopped for a few seconds, and then I came back to. But when that happened, I saw like it was a very wide space. It was black, but then all of a sudden I looked to the side of me and I saw, like, for the first time in adulthood, saw Anubis like holding my heart, and the top of my heart had a little bit had a glow to it. It looked like the organ itself.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't looking at me, but he said, "It's not your time, go back." And I snapped out of it. But it was the most real
Mm-hmm.
interaction I have had with the gods since childhood. Childhood, I had a really, strong like communication with them. And as an adult, like, I can, channel and communicate some of the things that come through.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like insane for me. Like, I've still been thinking about that since I've been here in the hospital for the last few days. Like, I literally feel like he is guarding my heart, and I love that.
He is one heck of a guardian. Actually, before I went on an investigation one time, he showed me how to take care of the situation with a 12-year-old little boy that had something attached to him. And he showed that to me the night before all that happened. He showed me how to use the crystal, what to do, and everything to take away the attachment to this young man that we were dealing with the next night.
Mhm.
And I was also standing back behind with him on a platform or behind a pyramid, and he looks down at me and leans forward and he crosses his hands like this with me and he goes, family.
Mhm.
And he has showed me several things with crystals and how to use them the way they did. um, it's interesting. Anubis is a really interesting guardian and guide for me.
Yeah.
So when you're telling me he was showing me or showing you your heart, he's showing you the part that needs to heal. That's what
Mm-hmm.
he was showing you, and letting you do that. So yeah, and if he's telling you it's not your time, it's definitely not your time.
Which really helped because I went through SVT twice, and for those of you that don't understand what that means, it means that your heart rate goes from a zero to above 150 beats per minute, and it's highly dangerous. So even though I went into those states, like I had 170, and then the other time I believe it was like 166, even though like they had crash cart people running in, I just knew I was going to be okay.
Mhm.
So yeah.
I'm sure when you were standing there with Anubis, you had that calm feeling as well.
Yeah, it was just like he was looking at my heart, and even though it was very short interaction, I felt at peace. And when I came out of it and they got, I ended up here, I knew that things were going to be okay, even though sometimes it's a little scary going through this stuff. Um, but I feel like I've got a connection to a brand new guardian to where I can communicate and be like, hey, how can I help other individuals? Like, I,
Right.
I do know that he's a guardian for the thresholds, but he's also like for mediums and healers, like we are, is a guardian as well. So I'm really excited to see where that goes.
He is very interesting when you sit and meditate and actually communicate with him. He is something else. He has showed me a lot, and that's really cool. And also goes back to Bissette as well, because she was one
Mhm.
of them back then as well, and she's been around me for a while as well. I've actually got about six guides and that are slash guardians for me, and they get really interesting. One of the things, you mentioned that your friend back then, when you started to see her and your gifts started to open it up, did she ever show you how to cross the threshold of the veil by any chance?
No, the interestingness was she showed me that she was present as, a soul, a being that was in the process of healing, but it was actually my ancestors in my meditations that actually showed me how to open that up a little bit more. So ancestors and guides, but then also, when I was younger, I had a stronger connection with the gods and goddesses, and they showed me a lot of things as well through those meditations. Oh, thank you, Chris. Chris, by the way, Christopher Brown is my co-host for the Medium Frequency. He
Hmm,
just joined the show, and I'm so happy to have him. He's been a great friend and great co-host.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that I actually had a girlfriend that passed away about 3 years ago, and she come back to visit me. She's one of the, I should say, few full apparitions I have ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And she appeared to me in a room that's just off to the side of me here when I came back one night, and she's the one that showed me how to cross that veil. She said I was very capable of doing it, and with because Anubis is around as well. But she said, you are one of the few that actually can cross that veil. And every time I always know she's around, and when I miss her, I always cross it and go over and see her. And not a lot of people understand that, and they think we're crazy when we talk that. But everybody's capable of crossing that veil if they're taught.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can always visit your relatives and past friends and everything else if you were taught how to do it. So, that's always a good thing because they're never really gone because they still live on regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've got some Akashic records we have in common. Tarot cards. I've done my first share of tarot cards with Miss Pam Harris on Serene Divine. How did you get into reading tarot cards?
So there was a girl that was in high school that read tarot cards. And I thought that was really interesting. I had already seen the mediumship side of things, but she was like, you got to learn about tarot cards. They're really interesting. And what I found is I started working with the basic deck, the Aleister Crowley Thoth deck is what I
Alistair
started
Crowley.
out with, and it ended up expanding into different types of tarot decks and oracle decks. And for me, with my readings, I learned the basis of the cards, right? But
Mhm.
then spirit usually gives me a lot of downloads on top of that, depending on the situation that the individual is needing. So the tarot cards then become a storybook for me, and they open
Mhm.
up and they show I see different visions within those cards, and the cards come to life.
Mhm.
So, but my favorite deck right now, there's a new Aleister Crowley deck that actually just came out, and I really, really love it. Um, it's a little bit different in the coloration of it, and our store carries it, and I just bought the deck before I came here, so that was a huge thing. I also really love Oracle decks too.
Mhm.
There are several Oracle decks that I work with as well, but I also really started to learn how to use the cards. So she was the one who introduced them to me, but there is a place in Oceanside called Kindred Journeys that I used to go to a lot of the classes, and I used to be very involved over there. And they taught classes on how to read the cards and kind of expand them as well. So I thought it was really cool. And yes, tarot cards can be past life related. I also
Yeah.
feel that tarot cards go into the future. They can look at, we all have power of choice, but they can show us different streamlines based on the decisions that we're making as far as like
Mhm.
outcomes of different decisions, which can
Very,
shift and change. And I always tell people that.
very true. Um, are you one like I am, not really going into full detail of somebody's future because you don't want to change their timeline of what they learn? Or do you just briefly just give them
It
hints?
de- so it depends on the question that they're asking. I really look to their ancestors and their guides to be able to figure out what information needs to be given and what information they need to learn or reveal for themselves based on their choices. So it is a team effort. I'm working with their guides at the same time while I'm reading the cards, and they will tell me which direction and path to go with the reading and what to focus on and how to assist in steps to where an individual can figure out the answers for themselves so that they can make proper decisions without changing a timeline that is unnecessary to change.
Very true. That's kind of an interesting way of doing that. I mean, because sometimes with some of the people that I've worked with, they don't even know who their guides or guardians are. And I try to lead them to that path first so they can understand who they are and start communicating with them as well. And then, I will, how do I say, give them hints in the right direction and then let them make their own choosing because I don't really like to screw with people's timeline. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Because if you change your timeline, sometimes it'll change yours.
Hmm.
And, sometimes we're there to help people, which is great. And that's what we're here for. But you also got to let them learn on their own time level as well. What is your
Right.
thoughts on those who believe in the future is not set in stone? Does free will change the outcome of the future reading? I
So, go ahead.
go, yeah, go.
Oh, okay. So, to answer that, I believe that free will can change the outcome of certain readings. But I also believe that if we're directed within the readings, This is just my thoughts on it. If we're direct about the fact that, their choices can change outcomes and that the reading that they're currently getting is based on their current path and their current choices, then we're giving them the clarity that the the reading can change based on certain decisions. It's not set in stone in that way. Um, and that's how it works really well for me with my clients. And we can go over the possible paths. Like, for example, somebody may ask me, should I, as an example, should I live in Georgia? Should I live in California? Or should I move to Canada? And what I'll do is I'll explain to them, okay, we're going to pull cards for each individual place that you want to go to. Now, these outcomes can be changed based on your decisions that you make, but let's take a look at what the current line shows. So we pull cards for each of those things and we give the information that's necessary so that they can mull it over and take the decision into their hands and take that self empowerment to where they are leading their own journey. Because the way I look at it with our readings, we're the guides, we're not the what's the word, we're the guides, but we're not the ones that like control the outcomes of what they
Right.
decide to do. That's what I'm trying to
Exactly.
get at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where your free will comes involved. Christy made a statement here. Our life journey was written at birth. When I started taking shaman classes, I had a shaman tell me once that a we chose everything that's going to happen to us in our life before we were even born, and
Hmm.
that's the path. That's our test, and that's our trials going through on how we're going to handle everything because we chose the things that was going to happen, even if they're bad or they're good. It's how we deal with them, how we're going to approach it. You know, sometimes I've seen things happen to people that were really super bad, and I'm kind of wondering if they didn't go through those trials and tribulations like that in order to be able to help others get through that because they were the stronger ones that could get through it to begin with. Does that make
So,
sense?
yeah, it makes sense. So, this is just my personal thoughts on it. I do believe that we come in with a specific set, like this is the path that you're going to go. But I also believe that at certain points, things may change based on the learning that we have had, the growth that we have had, the experiences that we have had in those situations, and how we choose with the free will to handle it. Because I have seen within the Akashic records, when it comes to ancestors and guides, okay, let's say somebody is meant to become a farmer for the rest of their life. Um, but the individual has like all the keys that are meant to become a farmer. But certain situations, like let's say somebody gets into an accident that wants to be a farmer, um, they may find like a different avenue to do something along the same lines, but it's a little bit of a different path within that journey
Right.
because their spirit, their soul is saying, well, I made a little bit of a different decision than what we originally agreed upon. And we were able to go ahead and on work on other outcomes that can come out of it. Um, it- I think that I do think that we come in with a set plan, but I do think that it can shift and change.
Hmm. But what I'm saying is the path that we were given. The reason why we go through that is in order to understand things to help others. I think, even though it's been
Agreed. Oh
bad,
yeah.
even though it's been bad or a trauma or effect, because a lot of our gifts, some of us, our gifts were given to us because of a trauma situation or
Correct.
something of our past that has linked us to that in order to help somebody else get through a situation of similarities.
Hmm. I would agree with that entirely. I think some of the situations that I have gone through like really opened me up and helped me to find areas to heal, and then also be able to use those gifts that I naturally have and be able to help others through that path. So I'm completely in agreement with you there.
Yeah. Same situation, just like Christy said, same situation, just different reason. Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely so. Um, yeah, and I've come across a friend of mine who's been had some issues. Always hitting a rut, always hitting bad times. And I told him, I said, you've got to change the story for you. You've got to switch it because if you keep bringing it to you and living in your past, you're just dragging up all the bad stuff to begin with. You've got to make the change in order to progress. So the
Hmm.
things that you've haven't learned, you keep getting dragged back because it hasn't sunk in your head yet. And when it does, you'll make that change.
Hmm.
But you can't force somebody to make that change unless they want to as well.
Right.
So yeah, that's interesting. Do you deal with frequencies?
I do. Yes.
I like
Yes.
frequencies. Explain some of the things you use with your frequencies.
So frequencies can help me to find basic things like to help people. So let's say like there's an how do I explain this? Okay, let's say you hear a music note, and that music note draws you to a specific direction. And that music note, the more you focus on it, gives you visuals of different things that have either been in that specific location or have happened or can be of use. Sometimes those frequencies, like when you tune into those specific music notes, then you can help to find ways to help others heal and then also oneself heal. But also, some of the guides that I have met for other people and for myself, they are on different energetic frequencies as well. And their vibrations are very different than ours. So being able to connect, I'm going to hold on a sec. I got to drink something real quick here. Oh my goodness. Um, so yeah, hold on one sec. Let me pull this
Yeah,
up.
you're fine.
Here we go. Okay. So sometimes guides have like a certain vibration in how they communicate. So I
Very
will
so.
look for the vibration and where they communicate and either see if I can match that vibration so that I can hear what they're saying, or I'll ask my guides to help me hit that vibrations and they'll get the messages, communicate it to me, and then I'll be able to communicate and do what's necessary. So that's how I work with vibrations.
That's cool. Can you also feel energy around you?
Yes. Very much so. I can feel energies of different people, but I can also feel energy resonances from past experiences that have occurred. Um, I can feel energy before it walks into a room. You know, I also work with animals in that way as well, because they are an energy and vibration, and they work on different vibrational levels and communication as well. So, yes, I feel energy around me.
Because one of the things I like to do is I could actually manipulate the energy. We can make energy balls between our hands. And
Mm-hmm.
I've actually had somebody back up about 5 feet to 10 feet, and they can actually feel me right in the palm of their hands. So
Mm-hmm.
I like doing that to people to let them know that they're capable of doing that stuff as well. And
Yeah, that's something that I like to do as well. Sometimes, like when I'm trying to explain energy in spaces, is create a small energy ball and do something very similar to that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely like to do that. And especially when I'm out on investigations, you can tell that negative energy, that positive energy, and what you're kind of dealing with at the time until you link all the pieces together of what is actually there. So being able to feel that energy around me does help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The other thing that I am able to do, if I'm close with someone, right, or I have a good energetic streamline where my energy is kind of similar to someone else's energy, and um let's say they want to do like an energetic thing where like I can connect with them and know what's going on. Like it's kind of interesting how
mhm,
like you can work with energies back and
mhm,
forth in that way, and
yep,
how much stronger it can become amplified over time with practice.
yep, yep. That's true, Sean. We can do that. Yep, very well. So, and when you get that energy and that connection with that person, it's a lot easier to be able to help them as well because you're picking up
Hmm.
on exactly how they're feeling as well, and you can explain to them in your terms how to deal with what's coming,
Right.
or what is, and it does help a lot better. Um, that's the good thing about that, and you can definitely tell if something's wrong when you walk into a room for sure, or somebody doesn't like you or doesn't want you around, or you've
Hmm.
got other, how do I say, um, empaths that actually tried to, how do I say, read you,
Hmm.
and you can feel that pressure on the side of you, and all of a sudden you just kind of look over. It's like, I don't think that's going to work much anymore. uh,
Right.
because I've had several people come up to me, like we were at Malvern Manor, and a lady come in, wanted to check out the place when we were there with the other team. I was there because I was there with Phantom Pals, and she was trying to read me, and I was like, I don't think that's going to work. And she goes, I can't get through. She says, whatever's guarding you is huge. She says, they won't let nothing around you. She said, I was
Mm.
trying to pick up everything I could, and they won't let me read you at all.
Those
So,
protective boundaries.
yeah. So I always like that as well. And being able to do stuff like that as well. So that we do actually got a lot of common with energy frequencies. Do you work with crystals as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I think crystals are great, especially with like healing work. When people come to our store, I'm usually recommending different, ones for different things that they're working through. And I believe that we can wake the crystals up and put them to work, and they love doing it.
I like meditating with a cat's eye and
Mhm.
obsidian and jasper. I like to
Mhm.
meditate with those things, because I've had experiences with some of the frequencies that those crystals give off, and I always have those on hand. I always got my little bag of full crystals when I go out on my investigations when I take with me as well, because I do like working with crystals. So, have you actually done any paranormal investigating yourself?
Yes, many. Actually, several. So I work with that with different teams throughout the U.S. when they're going on different investigations. But my very first paranormal investigation was in Utah at the Empress Theater, and I was working at the store as a medium, and they were having a paranormal conference, and I was like, "What's that?" Come to find out, like I met all these really cool people in the community, and I was like, okay. So I started going on like investigations and realized, oh, I could do mediumship alongside this to help, to help people, and help those that are on the other side, and also at the same time just be able to communicate with them. So I have been all over the US doing investigations with different teams, and also just with friends that I have in different areas. So I've been on many, many investigations.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is there anything in particular you do as a ritual before you go into an investigation or come out of an investigation?
Definitely. So usually I like to do I'll do like an energetic cleansing. I'll talk to my ancestors and guides about which crystals, which things I need to carry on me for my own protection, how I can amplify my protection at the same time, like different things that I may need to assist and help different people. Sometimes it's just letting them talk through things that they experienced or see. Sometimes it's pulling energies that are not meant to be on them, off of them.
Hmm.
So it really depends on the day. I have sprays that I use beforehand, and I actually sometimes carry those on me just for myself. Um, I also, so that's my before process. You know, I listen to what my guides tell me I need, and I bring those
Hmm.
things. Afterwards, outside of, I'll do a full cleansing. I'll even do like a shower where I use like I'll use certain herbs and different things in the shower or gel that I have to help slough off any, related energy
Right.
that needs to go off um, and transmute it into the earth. So it just kind of, I do have preparations, and it depends on how serious of a place I'm going to is. There was a specific family case that I was working with that I had to bring a lot more than I would say if I was just going to an investigation site I've been to before.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll use selenite when I leave a place, and I'll cut away that energy from me, if I need to, and
Hmm.
any one of my teammates as well. Sometimes I'll even mark them with an Egyptian sign that I know of for protection when we go to a certain place that I'm not sure exactly what's there, but I don't want them getting attachments, so they're under the Egyptian protection. Um, I've done that to several of my teammates before. Um, have you come across anybody with an attachment, and how did you deal with it?
Yes, actually, and because I'm allowed to share this because the family gave permission, I can share this story. There was a older woman that reached out to me and told me that her daughter was dealing with a serious attachment and that she thought that there was something in her house that was causing this. Um, I ended up taking a group of people with like a small group of people with me.
Hmm.
We did an investigation for the house. There was something specifically in the room where her daughter that was dealing with this situation was sleeping, and it was not a nice spirit. This was like after part of the people had gone back and it was just down to two of us. um and we did a full cleansing of the place. We did like a blessing for the place. um we did what we could. Well, come to find out, the woman had been not working with just me, but she had been working with multiple other types of workers. Now, as we know, with different healers and workers, it usually is good to have them, different traditions and different walks have different beliefs. And so when you do a mismatch of a whole bunch of different kinds of things, sometimes what one is trying to achieve to help a person gets undone by how another person does another thing. Um, and we found out she had been working with I mean, when I say like at least 50 people, different kinds of workers, not all of them were were of good energy, and she knew that, but she was just trying to get what was attached off her daughter. I found out that this young girl had a lot of trauma in her life, um, and had some pretty traumatic experiences with another family member. Um, so part of it was getting her, counseling support,
Mhm.
regular support,
Right.
because when you do that, that can help with releasing attachments. But then we met at the Starbucks, and you could just see that this attachment was completely controlling this kid,
Mhm.
unfortunately. We're sitting outside, and I'm talking to the mother, and I'm being calm, and this child is staring at me. It wasn't the child, it was the attachment that was
Mhm.
with her, looking at me in the window like it was going to jump on me. And I remember looking at it and saying, I'm not afraid of you. You're going to get off of this girl,
Mhm.
and you're going to go away. Well, the other person and I did like a full cleansing, blessing thing for her, and she started to feel, as I pulled this thing off and sent it where it was supposed to be sent, um, she started to feel better. And then she started to go into counseling, and she started to get the support that she needed. And because I had to reach out to people outside of me that, would be able to help beyond what my capacity was.
Right.
Um, and they helped her. Now I have connections with a whole huge group within All Access Network,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
also Wardruna. So I have people that I can connect with to help people if there's
Right.
things that I can't do. And in this situation, it was really bad. Um, but I'm glad that I was able to help her, and I'm glad that she was able to get the counseling she needed. I know that they moved from the spot in Arizona that they lived in to somewhere else, and they're doing well. But yeah, I've dealt with that, with having to remove attachments before. They're not easy, and they're not friendly.
Um, this is me and the Reiki master working on one of our old teammates, and she kept going around saying things that it's not normal. And when you got an attachment and people's not acting the way they should or normally, that
Hmm.
something's wrong. So we ended up working on her, and this is what happened the night we worked on her. You can see that me and the Reiki master have SLSs, the stick
Hmm.
figures in us. She laying here on the table, she does not have an SLS figure, but the Reiki master is actually holding up a tuning fork. And if you look behind that tuning fork, there's
Hmm.
the face of what we pulled out of our teammate because I
Okay.
was doing energy work on her, pushing everything out, and she was using the tuning fork to keep it at bay.
I can't see the image. It's not showing on the screen for me.
I'll send you the picture later
Okay, yeah.
and you can blow it up. But there's actually a face right
Hmm.
behind the tuning fork when she's holding it up.
I'd love
So
to see that.
yeah, and we've had some where I've came home the next morning and I've got pictures on the back of my sweatshirt of the images we pulled out of somebody from their attachments.
Hmm.
So,
I know that tuning forks are definitely great ways to help with removing attachments.
oh yeah,
Hmm.
she was holding it back, and we ended up containing it and removing it from her, and she hadn't had a problem since. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, dealing with things like that is kind of complicated. One of the very first investigations I actually seen a shaman take one away from the young boy that I actually helped later on do it again, and he had a bad one, but he actually caught it on camera where there was a spirit that wanted to relive his life because his childhood was bad. He wanted to relive it through this little boy,
Hmm.
and we actually caught it. The SLS stick figure actually walked from the little boy and leave the back of the room.
Wow.
So when he told him to leave, But yeah, that was one of the first ones that I've actually seen happen with that. And he's actually one of my mentors now. He's the one who teaches me the shaman stuff. I actually got access to Wiccan and, like I said, Reiki as well. And they come in very handy.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, sounds like me and you have a lot in common, Raven.
We do. That's awesome. We'll
Yeah.
have to dive more into that. That's cool.
Oh yeah, especially with frequencies. I like frequencies and listening to frequencies. Sometimes even when I meditate or even at night, if I'm not feeling well, I'll put on a certain frequency and I'll play it all night long. So, and some of that'll actually help me get into where my guides are and be able to talk to my guides and guardians as well. So,
That's awesome.
take your time, Raven.
Sorry. Oh man.
So, but yeah, it sounds like we do have quite a bit in common with some of the stuff we work with as well. So,
Yeah, I do like listening to to frequency music too. Especially when I go to sleep, there are certain ones that I'll listen to help me.
mhm. Yeah,
And
especially if you can't sleep. I notice people that have anxiety a lot. I think this is my personal opinion because I had two daughters that both have anxiety really bad, and I know they're both empaths as well. But how do I say, they are stubborn and don't want to listen to understand what they're feeling because they're overwhelmed with all the energy around them.
mm-hmm.
And I think if they would calm down a little bit and understand what they're dealing with, I think that would help their anxiety a lot.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that.
Because I think they just get overwhelmed when that anxiety comes on. Because everyone I know that has it, they says we don't know what brought it on. But
Mm-hmm.
then if you walk into the room and there's a bunch of energy in there, and then all of a sudden you notice the difference in them, it's all that high energy they're around, and they're picking up everybody's frequencies. So, but yeah, I think some things like that are very interesting when we can figure out things like that as well.
Oh yeah.
So, well, Raven, we are at the top of the hour. Um, where can they find you besides All Access Network Television?
So you can find me on Facebook at Raven Wolf with an E. You can also find me on Instagram, Salem in the Moonlight, and I have a group on Facebook called the Medium Frequency um, that I've had for many, many, many years, but I changed the name recently. I'm gonna have to add my co-host to that soon. um, but it's where I do a lot of my mediumship stuff. And you can also email me at themediumfrequency@gmail.com.
That's awesome. Well, Raven, I'm glad I got to meet you, and I hope things get better for you as well. And
Thank you.
welcome to the network, even though you've been here a little while. And I hope you stick around for a while. We definitely like having you here.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be able to have been a guest on your show, and I look forward to connecting more in the future.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to drop you backstage here, and I'm going to close out the show, and I'll be with you here in a sec.
Sounds good.
That is Raven Wolfe from medium frequencies, and definitely go check out her show on All Access Network Television. She does a great show, and she also has a co-host as well. And they do have a lot of interesting topics as well. Next week, we will have as a guest Illinois Paranormal Research Society or research, and we'll be talking about quarters 1 at the Rock Island Arsenal. So definitely tune in next week. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and whoever ordered the cold weather and all the snow, send it back because I definitely don't want it. Have a great night, everybody.